Hello, hello. We are live. I go live every Tuesday for Tuesday Tales, where I interview an interesting new guest, typically an entrepreneur in the business world, and we'll learn a little bit about their personality, their goals, their business, and then I'm going to ask them to share a story from their life that I can turn into a business story to illustrate the value of storytelling. So today we are joined by the fabulous Chantal McDougall. I met Chantal through a fantastic organization we both belong to called Fem City. Feel free to ask either one of us about that if you'd like to learn more. Chantel is a business mindset and visibility coach, and I feel like we're going to have so much synergy in the call today because all of the things that I help you do with clarifying your story and your message, she's going to show you how to be visible and how to have the right mindset to do all of those things. So welcome, Chantel. Good to have you here.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Helen, for inviting me. This is amazing. This is my first time on StreamYard, and I see it's working on my end. So, hi, everyone. Happy that you're here and you're watching. I wasn't sure if I was just going to be talking to Helen's audience. So, it's great that we are connected.
So good, so good. So I always love to throw my guests off right from the very start. And instead of talking about your business, I want you to tell me who you are outside of work.
Who am I outside of work? No,
Hmm.
that's a really good question. When I first started business, I didn't, I got so in it that I forgot, like, I'm a person too. I'm not just a business owner, and that's what a lot of us feel like. But,
Yes.
I am a passionate, creative, heart-centered person. I really truly believe in helping other people since I was, I don't know, honestly, before 8 years old. My mom called me a little mom, like mini mom. That's what she called me.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
so I was 8 years old or maybe even 7 years old helping kids on the play structure that were 4 to 6 that were younger, so that's just in my nature. So I'm, very nurturing and I care a lot about people. I'm also very creative. I love all things business, but also I love, like, mindset and really stepping into your full potential and all of that, so, yeah, I
What do you do for fun when you're
that's
not doing the business thing?
very important. I paint, I sing, I do puzzles, like, mind puzzles. I
Hmm.
also am a big fan of reruns, like, I watch the same shows maybe 7 to 8, 15 times.
Wow, you
So
sound like my daughter. Can you give me a
yeah.
favorite? What's a favorite show that you've
Right now, The
seen made?
Fosters, I absolutely love it. I'm watching it on Disney Plus, and it's so great. It just they cover really important topics, and it's talking about how the foster care system has a lot of, things that are very, messed up, and
Mm,
they really talk
yeah.
about it, and they bring up really important concepts, but it's also really fun because the couple are 2 women, so, they're so in love, and they have adopted 5 kids, and it's really amazing. I love that.
That's so cool. I'm gonna have to check that out on Disney.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been actually thinking I went through the whole probably my favorite TV series of all time is Schitt's Creek.
Ah!
And I've just been waffling over whether I'm going to go back and rerun and watch that whole thing again because I'm so proud of it because it's
Yeah.
Canadian and also because it's like so appropriate for our time and so funny, like
I hear
the
great
acting and
things.
yeah. So maybe I'll sit down and on your inspiration, I'll do a whole rerun of that series.
For sure. I love it. I'm the type of person that I watch it after the 4th time, I'm like, "They did what?" Like, like, I'm so in it every time, like, it doesn't feel, like, tiring or boring, but what I've learned is sometimes I'm putting on a show, a rerun, and then I'm doing work in the background, and I'm like, "Nope, I gotta separate the 2, we gotta take care of ourselves
Oh,
first,"
yeah.
right? It's like
I
putting on the
wonder if
background
that
something
whole
last.
creative aspect because I'm a creative as well and I wonder
Yeah.
if that is part of what leads us so deeply into that story, like becoming connected with those characters and wanting to kind of live that out. I'm one of those people. My kids laugh at me if I watch a movie and it's the worst movie in the world. I still
Yeah.
have to watch it until the end. Like I still need to know what happens in it. And I wonder if that's kind of a key for those of us who are creative, that we really understand the
So
value
true.
of
Yeah.
investing in that, right? Yeah,
For
that's fun.
sure. And for me, I get, like, sometimes just a little frustrated internally when I learn about some cool characters that we don't get to hear their side of the story or their story. I'm like, "Oh, dang, why can't they have another spin-off with them?" So that's really funny, but it's true.
Yeah,
As a
that's fun.
creative, I just see, meaning in objects. I love writing as well. I don't really promote that very much, but I love comparing, um just objects in my environment, connecting it to the human experience and relating to it, and it's just part of who I am, and I did that since I was young, and now I'm realizing it's coming back, and a lot of what we loved when we were younger, that's a big part of what we gravitate to as adults, and I find I'm
Oh,
finding
sure.
myself again.
Yeah, and that's something that would really serve, I would think, your clients and your business too, right? Being able to make those connections
For
to help
sure.
them with finding um their story and their messaging. So tell me now a little bit more about that. What is it that you do with your messaging and visibility?
So, I love that you ask because I answer this question almost every day. I have so I can tell you who my client is. My client's usually the person who would hear this question, be like, "I don't know what to say. I don't know who I help. I have so many hats. What do I say?" So,
Awesome.
yeah. So, I work with healers, leaders, coaches, and creatives to reach the people who need to hear their messages, their services, their offerings, and their voice. So really to reach their target audience. And what I learned in business, from actually it happening to me and seeing it in my community, if you're not clear with your messaging, you could be speaking to other experts in your field that will not buy from you, that are not your clients. So you have to remember when you're speaking about who you serve, what you do, etc., you got to think of the person who is at the beginning of their journey, not someone that, like, self-love might be a term that your client doesn't know yet, or it might be a term that gets thrown around. So it's really, I help them craft either elevator pitches, introductions, even create like workshops as well, really getting clear on the messaging to promote it as well, so they get to feel confident showing up at networking events and social media and sharing their voice and igniting their light so more people can ignite their own.
That's amazing. And so you mentioned that you saw some of that in your community where people were perhaps not selling to the right audience or didn't know that their audience was there and didn't have
Yeah,
the right messaging. Is
100%.
that
Yeah.
what drew you into this business, or can you tell me what it is that made you realize you wanted to step into this work?
Yeah, it's a mix of my mini mom self, right? Like being just always wanting to help others, like just being a kind human, mixed with one of my jobs when I was younger was a supervisor and a lifeguard. And I loved seeing the look on someone's face when they could accomplish something they didn't think they could do. That just lit me up, combined with my expertise with networking. Keep in mind, I was a lifeguard in training, okay? Not the lifeguard, on the scene. I wasn't hired yet. I was training, and I was afraid to blow my whistle because I was afraid people were going to look at me. That's what, like, that was my anxiety, my shyness, all of that, right? And I like to share that because so people don't think I was like this all the time. I wasn't, right? I didn't really feel like I had a voice a lot in my relationships. So that, to being 3 weeks in the government as a student and networking with big assistant commissioners, like big people in the government, and just owning it, not being confident, like arrogant, but just quiet confidence in knowing who I am and knowing what I do in that job. And I got a shout out from one of the biggest people in the government. And they shouted out our team, and my team was so proud. I'm like, how do I combine my love for networking, my love for seeing someone light up when they realize they can do something they didn't think they could do, and also my passion to serve and help. So I really found I really want to work with people who are here on this planet, have so many gifts and talents, but they are afraid of being seen. They don't know what to say, or They're just stuck in their own head because they have all these ideas, but not enough execution is happening. So I help them take more
Absolutely.
action as well. Because you can have
Yeah.
all the knowledge, but is it actionable? Are you going to do something? It's like when you leave a summit, you're so motivated. You're like, yeah, yeah, this is great. All of my coaching programs and just programs in general, it's actionable, practical, and doable. I don't want you to just feel motivated and not do anything. I want you to connect with your audience, show up online, shine, etc.
Amazing. Now I have to ask you, just because I'm a good listener. You said you worked for the government for 3 weeks. Did I
No, no,
get that
no.
right?
I was in the government for under a year, but within
Okay.
3 weeks, I attended the biggest networking event. Keep in mind,
Oh,
I was like
super.
19 and I was the
Okay.
youngest one there. And I was talking to I got like the big commissioner of the branch I was in to talk to me. And I was like, okay, people have been in the government for 20, 30 years and they can't do this. Not that they can't, but they don't think they can, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I truly believe that all those people could if they had the right support, encouragement, and the self talk, how we talk to ourselves so they can go for it and be their own ally. That's what I teach my
Wow.
clients.
So good. So good. So tell me now, you've mentioned lifeguarding and you've mentioned this work that you did with the government. What other past experience do you actually bring to your work that you think really helps you help your clients?
Oh my gosh, so much because that's just like professional, right? I started my business in my last year of psychology. I graduated on the honor roll, but keep in mind, I started my coaching program last year of university studying psychology. It was COVID. I changed cities. I met my soulmate. I made all these changes happen. So I'm really someone that is a dreamer but a doer. Like I make it happen. And I have 5 things on my manifestation Post-it note, and 2 of them have already come true this year. So I'm a big believer in, like, going for it, and I've had so many hard things happen to me, and I have not stopped. And a lot of people who know me personally are sometimes surprised that I've made it, you know? Not just made it here, some people, like, are very surprised to still be on Earth, but also made it and doing what I said I would do. And I've lost people along the way, not just through, like, passing, I mean, outgrowing people who I
Mm,
thought were actually looking out for me, but they love to see me not do so well, so that kinda would give them my power without realizing. So I have a
yeah.
lot of experience with dealing with all sorts of personalities, all sorts of times with not having support, leaving home at a young age, um, abandonment, all of that stuff. So I feel like I'm very well equipped to be my own ally, my own coach, and then it motivated me and yeah, it motivated me to want to help other people that might not realize that they can as well. And I started with life and mindset coaching and
Yeah.
self-love at first and confidence, but I really saw the need in the networking space when I was doing the networking already,
Hmm.
and I love working with business owners who are making their dreams come true and helping them achieve those dreams as well.
Awesome. Can you recall, a time in your life or an event in particular that let you find your voice that made you actually stand up and say, "Oh, I am somebody and I have something to say."
Yeah. I'm not gonna eh, a lot, yes, to answer, lightly. I had someone directly in my face tell me, "You're gonna start a business? You?" And had they told me that a year before, I wouldn't have. I know I wouldn't have because I would have listened to them. But at this point, I'm like, "Well, why not me?" And that is a big thing that I take away, because a lot of what people are gonna tell you, first of all, do they have what you want in their life? Probably not, so don't listen to them. 2, people are often projecting, like, putting on their own insecurities onto you, so when they're saying, like, "You can't do that," they're really saying, "I don't believe I can." So I think that was a big moment that I didn't have a voice. Certain relationships I left, I didn't have a voice. growing up, I would just put people on pedestals, didn't have a voice. Very much a people pleaser, wanting to make everybody else happy. That's why it's super important now that I put into practice, like taking care of myself, honoring my boundaries, all of that. So my approach is
Hmm.
not just, like I say, magnetic messaging, like getting clear who you're helping, who you're serving, all of that. But I
Yeah.
also bring to the table that self-talk component, like how you talk to yourself on day-to-day tasks. Are you leaving, like, am I gonna leave this live and just put myself down the whole time, like, in the next 10 minutes after I leave? Or am I gonna say, "Damn, I did a good job." That's so important because if we are so hard on ourselves throughout our
Yeah.
whole business, what's the point? You know, then we're just giving the power to someone else. So I
Oh,
think that
absolutely.
to answer your question, that's a time that stood out to me, but a lot of times I didn't have a voice. I didn't even know I could.
And do you think your psychology that you studied in school helped you break through some of those things yourself, where you were a people pleaser and you started to understand more about, personality and things like that to actually break
Mm,
through?
interesting. Yeah, because at first I was gonna say no, because a lot of what I learned I knew a lot of it from lived experiences, so that was eye-opening. Seeing
Yeah.
that I was going through something and learning how it was actually wrong and not a good thing and just very dysfunctional, I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa," kinda needed that validation to realize, "Okay, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing helped me lead to trusting my gut." Like, that's the big thing with my business. Trust your gut, follow your intuition. And when it comes to messaging as well, it's not just like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I'm gonna help you get clear on what to say and in a way that feels authentic and powerful for you, but memorable for your
Right.
target audience. But,
Yes.
yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't say my degree helped me find, what was the question again? It was to find my voice?
Yeah, to get over that, people pleasing, all of the relationships and things where you've been in where you didn't feel that you had a voice. I'm just wondering what was the crux for you to start
I think
understanding that you had one.
Yeah, I think it was leaving home at a fairly young age and finding my own sanctuary and being in my own space and becoming my own person, and honestly, leaving a relationship helped me just propel forward. Um, yeah, I got to really discover who I am, and COVID I'm not gonna say thanks COVID, but being alone and just seeing more and learning more about myself, I was like, if I wasn't in a place to be so, we were all so isolated, right? I don't
Yeah,
know if I
yeah.
would have come to those conclusions so soon. But I was also in a, I don't really use the word quantum leaping. I didn't really know about that, but I was feeling like 10 years older post pre-COVID and post-COVID. Like, people usually
Mhm.
have conversations with me. I'm 26 and they're usually like, "Wow, you sound like you're in your 30s or 40s with your wisdom." Someone even told me that I sound I have the wisdom of an 80-year-old, which I love. I love. I
I'm the
wanna be the
opposite. I'm in my 60s and people tell me I act like a child. It's good.
That's funny. I love being like, I don't know, the fairy godmother. That's what I wanna
Yeah.
be.
You know what, that often happens with, when you're talking about like being a mini mom, right? When you have that real nurturing spirit, I think there is something there that is like an old soul, so to speak, right? Where you have this
Yeah.
guidance and wisdom and like when you think of a lot of young kids, especially through teens, and I mean, even preteen, even as young kids, we're very selfish, right? Everything is normally about us. But when you got that kind of mini mom that carried
Yeah.
you through, I think that was probably a different. I know one of my own kids. I say that she has a very old soul. Like I learn more from
Yeah.
her, I think, than I
Aw.
teach her. So that's a pretty cool way to be, and I think that's probably some of that intuition and
Yeah.
guidance came from that, like it's just wired into you from
I
from
think
your
you're
your
right.
childhood,
When I
right?
think, like, who actually, it was me. And when people ask me, "Oh, what book are you reading? What expert podcast?" And I'm happy we're live right now so other people can hear too. The only book I'm listening to is this one. I think it's really
Mm,
important because we rely so much on other people's story, other people's this to wait for permission, validation, all of that. I don't need to learn from other people. I'm following my gut. It's guided me so well, and I thank it as well. So that's just so important. And if you don't know how to follow your gut, like that's where you can reach out to me. Like I help my clients with that. It's not what I usually promote, but I'm sharing more and more about following your gut and doing what feels good for you, trusting your body. Like even with an elevator pitch, if someone told you, okay, share this elevator pitch and it doesn't feel good, is it
yeah.
that imposter syndrome? You're like, ooh, this feels too good. I don't know if this is me. Or is it more, no, this isn't me? That's what I help my
Yes.
clients like find the right
Yeah.
balance so they shine and it feels magnetic for them and the people they're trying to reach.
Yeah. That's a perfect segue into the next portion of the live show, because I think that whole idea of authenticity is
Mhm.
so important, and so many entrepreneurs I think struggle with that, with imposter syndrome, with all of those other things, because they're not showing up authentically. And so, one of the things I love to share with people is the whole idea of storytelling, just showing up as who you are with a
Yes.
story from your life, lets people know who you are. So, one of the things I like to do in the show is ask if you can share with me a story, something that happened to you recently, something that happened to you when you were a kid, and just something that comes to mind. And then I'm going to create a story that actually flows along with all of these cool things that you've told me about your business and your work.
Ooh. So it can be any type of story you said that
Yeah,
it does it have to be around imposter syndrome?
no, anything at all. You can tell me about a dog you used to have, or your favorite food, or anything, anything you can think of.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I know it. Yeah. Okay. I didn't
Okay,
know it at first, but I trusted my gut and I'm like, it's gonna come and it did.
there you go.
I was and I hope the people who are listening to me went to school with me. I used to be afraid of them watching me on social media, but I some of my clients were people I went to school with, and it's so cool. They were older than me. I didn't even speak to them before. And I think what's coming up for me is I was always the includer. In school, I would always include the new kid. I never was a new kid, but I knew how important it was to feel welcomed, included, all of that. And it's really I'm really proud looking back at myself, and I was known to have a big heart and known as the nicest girl and all of that, but the thing is now I realize you had to have boundaries, right? Back then I didn't. I was bullied. I was actually bullied really, really badly, and that probably I didn't yeah, I'm sure it took away my voice for sure, but it never stopped me from being compassionate, kind, and, like, a good person. Actually, the bully had a really low moment, and a lot of people might, you know, their own, like, ego or pain would come in, but I helped them through what they were going through, and that was my bully, and then they realized,
Mm,
like, "Why did I do that to you?" So, that's pretty I look back at myself, I'm like, how did you do that?" But I do realize if it would have happened again, I would have done it again, but I would have boundaries now. I did more for the bully than I should have, but at least I know I was true to who I am, true to my character, and again, an includer, making sure people are okay, like, even at parties or anything, I never was the one like, I always made sure everyone was okay, but that wasn't that great as well because I would go and make sure everyone was okay, take care of everyone, and I had to almost, like, not even joking, save a life at one point, but I felt like it was my duty, and this is where
mm,
I'm learning. I think I went through life feeling like I owe the world everything, and now I'm realizing I don't owe the world everything, but I can be who I am, make the impact I'm making, and be kind to myself and be my own ally. So it's really, something to look back on and be proud of for
yeah,
sure.
very cool. I had a conversation with my coach just last week, I think it was, about this mindset that I have had, and I think it was probably, taught to me by my parents, this idea that nothing comes for free. So
Yeah.
I had this kind of, I always owe somebody something. If they're nice to me, I've got to do something back. And she was like, no, you don't. Like that
Nope.
there you don't owe
No.
anybody. Like you are
No.
in the world for your
Exactly.
purpose and whatever.
And
So
And I always tell my
yeah.
clients, never share what you're not comfortable sharing yet. Right? Because I've been on the spot once and I shared, I think it was on a live, and I was like, I wasn't ready to share that. But people pleasing me was like, okay, I'm going to. But
Yeah.
just to add to the bullying, I had death threats. And I'm wondering if maybe some of that, and I don't know if that's triggering. If that's triggering for anyone, I'm sorry. But yeah, I had really, and it was cyberbullying. And I wonder if that is part of why I've had some resistance with social media at the beginning, because my body knows it to be dangerous, but it's
Mm,
not anymore. There are, of course, bad people everywhere, but there's also so much good. There's so much, and you have so many silent supporters, like people around you making sure you're okay. Like even when I went to the Dominican a few months ago, I fell on marble floor twice on my knees, and there were a
ouch.
ton of people. And I was mortified and so embarrassed. But then I went to the bathroom and someone followed me, and someone that worked there, and they made sure if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, yeah, that was so funny. And then 10 seconds later, I'm sobbing, right?
Mm,
But what I didn't realize in that moment, because I was so mortified and embarrassed, was all those strangers around me, no one was laughing. They were all looking out for me. They all made sure, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Because after my tears were gone, I came out and people were checking in on me. And I'm like, wow, that was a good reminder for people are looking out for you. People are there to support you and there to cheer you on and make sure you're okay. You're not alone. And I really needed that reminder in a really painful way. My knees were bruised, but it was really memorable. That's for
wow.
sure.
Okay, you know what? That's the story that I'm actually gonna talk about because I think
Okay.
you could use this fantastic analogy to talk about. I was on this recent trip to the Dominican, and where you're in a place where you really know no one. Here I found myself having fallen and been mortified and embarrassed. Do you ever feel the same way when you're doing an introduction at a networking event or posting something on social media? There's no need to, because people are there to support you. And if your message is the right message, it's going
Yeah.
to hit the right audience. How does that resonate
Pow!
with
I was gonna
you?
say mic
Yeah.
drop moment. Woo! I can't see what people are saying. I'm not sure if they can. There's no way to see it, but I can
Yeah, we don't get the
imagine.
live stream comments in StreamYard, but you can go back and find them on Instagram if anybody is commenting. Thank you.
Cool. I hope you guys are. If not, that's okay too. It's
Yeah,
no problem.
yeah. So that's what I love to do, is just take a story like that
Yeah,
that is, again, like a reflective moment in your life where you realized, oh my goodness, why was I so embarrassed? I had all these great people around me. And that's the same thing that you can be telling your clients on social media. Don't worry about the naysayers or the people who don't resonate with your message, because you don't want to talk to them anyways. You only want those people that are going to support you. And that's what having this authentic message and this authentic magnetic messaging is all about, right? That you
thank you.
provide.
Yeah, I love
So
that. I'm
that's
so
so
happy this
fun.
is recorded. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so good. So if you have been commenting, thank you, thank you. If you're watching this on the replay, please comment. Please put in your aha moment. Say hi to Chantal. Connect with her if you are curious about her work. Please connect with me if you're curious about mine. If you could use some help with storytelling for your messaging and your presentations as well. Stories really create meaningful connections with your audience. There is a whole geeky neural pathway thing that happens. If for those of you who are science geeks and want to learn more about that, we are wired for story. And so I love to use storytelling and communication intelligence to really help elevate your presence in your social media and presentations that you're
for
making.
sure.
So please join me again next week for Tuesday Tales, where I'll have another fantastic entrepreneur visiting with me. And Chantel, thank you again. It's so great
For
to catch up with
sure.
you.
And before we
Love your
disconnect,
messaging.
Thank you. I wanna just say thank you, and your work is so powerful as well, and I think it's so cool that you can showcase your own talent in this video, like, you're interviewing us, but also you get to sprinkle in your magic, and I really think that's great, so thank you so much.
Awesome. So anybody wanting to reach out to Chantal, as I said, you can find her on Instagram and Facebook, and she will be tagged in my posts from this live. Thank you again, Chantal, for everyone out there, and for you, Chantal. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you again soon.
Sounds great. Take care. Bye.